David never thought his life would come to this. Standing in his kitchen at 6 in the morning, watching his 6-year-old daughter Lily eat cereal while scrolling through emails on his phone, he felt like he was drowning. The tech company he built from scratch was finally getting the break it needed. But now everything might fall apart because of one dinner. 3 years ago, when cancer took his wife Anna, David thought the hardest part would be explaining to Lily why Mommy wasn't coming home. He was wrong. The hardest part was pretending he had everything under control when he clearly didn't. Some days he forgot to pack Lily's lunch. Other days he showed up to parent-teacher meetings in yesterday's clothes because he'd been up all night fixing code. His business partner kept telling him to hire help, but David was stubborn. He could handle being both a father and a CEO. He had to. That's when Rosa came into their lives. She knocked on his door 2 years ago, responding to his desperate Craigslist ad for a housekeeper. David expected someone older, maybe with gray hair and thick glasses like the housekeepers in movies. Instead, Rosa was young, probably in her late 20s, with kind eyes and a smile that made Lily immediately trust her. Rosa wasn't just a housekeeper. She became the person who remembered Lily's favorite sandwich filling. She knew exactly how to braid Lily's hair the way she liked it. When David worked late, Rosa would read bedtime stories with the same voice as Anna used to do. She never tried to replace Anna, but she filled the empty spaces their family had been struggling with. David paid Rosa well because she was worth it, but more than that, he respected her. She was sending money back to her family in another country, working toward goals he didn't fully understand but admired. Rosa was smart, probably smarter than half the people he worked with. But she cleaned his house and took care of his daughter without complaint. The problem was Robert Patterson. Patterson owned one of the biggest companies in the city. Landing his business would mean David's small tech firm could finally compete with the major players. It would mean security for Lily's future, college funds, maybe even a vacation that didn't involve David checking emails every 5 minutes. But Patterson was old school. Really old school. He believed in family values, traditional marriages, and stable home lives. During their first meeting, Patterson spent more time asking about David's family than his business plan. "A man's character shows in how he handles his personal life," Patterson had said, leaning back in his leather chair. "I don't do business with people who can't keep their own house in order." David had smiled and nodded, but inside he was panicking. What would Patterson think if he knew David sometimes fed Lily cereal for dinner because he forgot to grocery shop? What would he say about the times David brought Lily to the office because he couldn't find a babysitter? Now Patterson was coming to dinner at David's house next Friday to meet David's family and see how stable his home life really was. David had exactly 1 week to figure out how to look like the family man Patterson expected him to be. "Daddy, you're burning your coffee," Lily said, pointing to the pot that was definitely making more smoke than coffee. David turned off the heat and rubbed his face. This was exactly what he was talking about. He couldn't even make coffee without messing up. "Rosa will be here soon," he told Lily. "She'll make you proper breakfast." "Can Rosa make pancakes? The fluffy ones?" "I'm sure she can." Lily grinned and went back to her cereal. David watched her and felt that familiar ache in his chest. Anna should be here for this. She should be the one making pancakes and braiding hair and knowing all the right things to say. Instead, it was just David, failing at most things, and Rosa, who somehow made everything work. That's when the idea hit him. It was crazy. Completely insane. But as David thought about it, it started making sense. Rosa already lived here most of the week. Lily adored her. To an outsider, it might already look like they were a family. What if just for one night they pretended that's exactly what they were? When Rosa arrived an hour later, David was still thinking about it. She let herself in with her key, hung up her coat, and immediately started cleaning up the coffee mess he'd made. "Good morning," she said, kissing the top of Lily's head. "How's my favorite little girl today?" "Rosa, can you make pancakes?" "Daddy burned the coffee again." Rosa laughed. "Of course. But first, let's get you ready for school." David watched them together. Rosa helped Lily pack her backpack, checked that she had her homework, and reminded her about the permission slip for next week's field trip. Things David should remember but often forgot. After Lily left for school, Rosa started her usual routine. She moved through the house like she belonged there, which David supposed she did. This place ran better when she was around. "Rosa," David said, then stopped. "How do you ask someone to pretend to be your girlfriend?" How do you explain that your entire business might fail if you can't look like a stable family man? Yes? Rosa looked up from wiping down the counter. I need to ask you something. It's going to sound strange. Rosa waited. She was good at that, giving people space to say what they needed to say. I have this client coming to dinner on Friday, a very important client, the kind that could change everything for the company. That's wonderful. The thing is, he's very traditional. He believes in family values and stable relationships. He wants to see that I have my life together before he trusts me with his business. Rosa nodded slowly. And you're worried about what he'll think? I'm worried he'll see that I'm barely keeping my head above water, that I'm a single dad who burns coffee and forgets school events and has no idea what he's doing half the time. But you're a good father, Rosa said firmly. Lily loves you. You work hard for her. I know. But Patterson won't see that in one dinner. He'll see a single dad who looks overwhelmed. David took a deep breath. This was it. What if he thought I wasn't single? Rosa stared at him. What do you mean? What if for one night he thought we were together? You and me, like a real family. The words hung in the air. David immediately wanted to take them back. This was his employee, someone who depended on him for work. He was putting her in an impossible position. You want me to pretend to be your girlfriend? Rosa's voice was careful, neutral. Just for one dinner. Just to get through this meeting. I know it's crazy and I know it's asking too much. But Rosa, I'm desperate. This contract could change everything for Lily and me. Rosa was quiet for a long time. David watched her face, trying to read her expression. How much? She finally asked. What? How much would you pay me for this acting job? David hadn't thought about money. $5,000. On top of your regular salary. Rosa's eyes widened. $5,000 was probably more than she made in 3 months. One dinner, she said. Just one night. Just one night. I promise. Rosa looked around the kitchen at the pictures on the refrigerator that included her in most of them now, at the life she'd become part of without really meaning to. Okay, she said quietly. I'll do it. David felt relief flood through him, then immediately felt guilty for putting Rosa in this position, then felt grateful that she was willing to help him. He had no idea that this one fake dinner would change all their lives forever. The next few days felt strange. David found himself watching Rosa differently, noticing things he'd never paid attention to before. The way she hummed while folding laundry, how she always knew exactly what to say when Lily had a bad day at school. The small smile she got when she thought no one was looking. He was being ridiculous. This was just business. One dinner, $5,000, problem solved. But Wednesday morning, while Rosa was making Lily's lunch, David realized they had no idea how to act like a couple. They barely touched except for the occasional hand brush when passing Lily something at dinner. They'd never held hands, never kissed, never done any of the things couples do naturally. We need to practice, David said suddenly. Rosa looked up from cutting Lily's sandwich. Practice what? Being together. Like a real couple. Patterson isn't stupid. He'll notice if we act like strangers. Rosa's cheeks turned pink. What kind of practice? David hadn't thought this through. I don't know. Couple things. Holding hands. Sitting close together. Looking comfortable with each other. Daddy, who's Patterson? Lily asked, appearing in the kitchen doorway in her school uniform. He's someone Daddy works with, sweetie. He's coming for dinner on Friday. Is Rosa cooking? Rosa makes the best dinners. David and Rosa exchanged glances. They hadn't talked about what to tell Lily. Yes, I'll cook, Rosa said. Something special. After Lily left for school, the house felt too quiet. David and Rosa stood in the kitchen, neither knowing what to say. Maybe we should sit together, David finally suggested. Like on the couch. See how it feels. They moved to the living room like they were walking to their own execution. David sat on one end of the couch. Rosa sat on the other end. There was enough space between them for another person. This looks ridiculous, David said. Very ridiculous. Rosa agreed. Couples sit closer. Yes, they do. Neither of them moved. Finally, Rosa scooted over until their legs were almost touching. Better? Better. But still weird. Very weird, David laughed, and Rosa started laughing too. Suddenly, the whole situation seemed funny instead of awkward. We're really bad at this, David said. Terrible. Patterson will see, right? Through us. Maybe you should put your head on my shoulder. Don't couples do that? Rosa hesitated, then leaned against him. She smelled like the vanilla perfume she always wore. mixed with the lavender detergent she used on Lily's clothes. It wasn't unpleasant. Actually, it was nice. How's this? She asked. Good. Natural. David's voice sounded strange to his own ears. They sat like that for a few minutes. David found himself relaxing. Rosa was warm against his side, and for the first time in months, he wasn't thinking about work or Lily's schedule or any of the 100 things that usually crowded his mind. We should probably practice talking, Rosa said softly. What do couples talk about? I don't know. I haven't been in a relationship for a long time. David realized he knew almost nothing about Rosa's personal life. How long? 3 years. Maybe 4. You? Since Anna died. I haven't even thought about dating. Why not? The question caught David off guard. I don't know. Too busy, I guess. Too scared. Scared of what? David thought about it. Scared of forgetting Anna. Scared of Lily getting attached to someone who might leave. Scared of messing up again. Rosa was quiet. Then she said, Anna wouldn't want you to be alone forever. How do you know? Because she loved you. And people who really love someone want them to be happy, even if they can't be there to see it. David felt something tight in his chest loosen. When did you get so wise? My grandmother used to say that. Before she died. Do you miss her? Every day. But missing someone doesn't mean you stop living. They talked until Rosa had to start dinner. About their families, their dreams, things they'd never shared before. David learned that Rosa wanted to open her own catering business someday. Rosa learned that David used to write poetry before he got into tech, and sometimes still did when he couldn't sleep. Thursday night was their final practice session. Lily was at a sleepover, so they had the house to themselves. We should practice introductions, David said. How I'd introduce you to Patterson. Okay, what would you say? David cleared his throat formally. Mr. Patterson, I'd like you to meet Rosa, my girlfriend. Rosa giggled. You sound like you're introducing me to the principal. How should I sound? Like you actually like me. Like you're happy I'm there. David tried again, this time with a smile in his voice. Patterson, this is Rosa. I'm lucky she puts up with me. Better. Much better. They practiced small talk, the kind of conversations couples have in front of other people. David found himself enjoying it more than he expected. Rosa was funny and smart, and she had opinions about everything from politics to the best way to make coffee. Your coffee really is terrible, she said, after he'd pretended to offer Patterson some. I know. I don't understand it. I follow the directions. You use too much water and not enough coffee, and you leave it on the heat too long. Will you teach me? After all this is over? If you want me to. There was something in her voice that made David look at her more carefully. Rosa, are you okay with this? Really okay? Because if you're not comfortable, we can figure out something else. Rosa was quiet for a moment. I'm okay with it. It's just pretend, right? Right. Just pretend. But as they practiced sitting close together, holding hands, being comfortable in each other's space, it started feeling less like pretending and more like something else. Something David wasn't ready to name. Friday morning arrived too quickly. David woke up nervous, checking his phone every few minutes to see if Patterson had canceled. He hadn't. Rosa spent the day cooking. She made Patterson's favorite meal, which David had casually found out during a business lunch the week before. Pot roast with vegetables, fresh bread, and apple pie for dessert. The house smelled amazing. Lily came home from school excited about the dinner guest. She put on her best dress without being asked and helped Rosa set the table with the good dishes. Is Rosa your girlfriend now, Daddy? Lily asked while Rosa was in the kitchen. David nearly choked on his water. Why would you ask that? Because you've been holding hands, and you look at her different. How do I look at her? Like you like her. Like really like her. David didn't know what to say to that. At 6 o'clock, Rosa came downstairs in a dress David had never seen before. It was dark blue and simple, but it made her look elegant and beautiful. Her hair was styled differently and she was wearing makeup. You look nice, David said, then immediately felt stupid. Nice, that was the best he could do? Thank you. You look handsome. David had put on his best suit, the one he wore to important meetings, but suddenly he felt underdressed next to Rosa. The doorbell rang at exactly 7 o'clock. Ready? David asked, reaching for Rosa's hand. Ready, she said, squeezing his fingers. But as they walked to the door together, David realized he wasn't sure what was real anymore and what was just for show. And from the way Rosa's hand trembled slightly in his, He suspected she was feeling the same thing. Patterson was about to meet their family. The question was, which family was he meeting? The fake one they'd practiced or the real one they were accidentally becoming? Robert Patterson was exactly what David expected. Tall, gray-haired, wearing an expensive suit that probably cost more than David's car payment. He had the kind of presence that made people stand straighter when he walked into a room. "David," Patterson said, shaking hands firmly. "Good to see you outside the office." "Thank you for coming, Mr. Patterson. I'd like you to meet Rosa." Rosa stepped forward with the smile she'd practiced, the one that looked natural and warm. "It's so nice to meet you, Mr. Patterson. David's told me so much about you." Patterson took Rosa's hand and smiled back. David felt a small surge of relief. First impression was going well. "Please call me Robert, and the pleasure is mine. David's been keeping you a secret." "I don't like to mix business with personal life too much," David said, putting his arm around Rosa's waist. The gesture felt more natural than he'd expected. Smart man. "Though I have to say, from what I can see, your personal life is looking pretty good." Lily appeared in the doorway, wearing her best dress and the biggest smile David had seen from her in weeks. "And this must be the famous Lily I've heard about," Patterson said, crouching down to her level. "Hi, Mr. Patterson. Rosa made your favorite dinner. She's the best cook in the whole world." David's heart skipped. They hadn't told Lily to call Rosa the best cook. She just said it naturally, the way kids do when they're proud of someone they love. "Is that so?" Patterson looked amused. "Well then, I'm in for a treat." During dinner, everything went better than David had dared to hope. Rosa was perfect. She was charming without being fake, smart without being pushy, and she clearly adored Lily. When Patterson asked about their relationship, Rosa talked about how David was an amazing father, and how much she enjoyed being part of their little family. "How long have you two been together?" Patterson asked. David and Rosa had practiced this answer. "About 8 months," David said. "We took it slow because of Lily." Very wise. Children need stability. Patterson looked at Lily, who was telling Rosa about her school project. "It's obvious she's comfortable with you, Rosa. That says a lot about both of you." "Lily makes it easy," Rosa said, reaching over to tuck a strand of hair behind Lily's ear. "She's special?" "She is indeed." Patterson smiled. "You know, David, when I first met you, I wasn't sure. Young CEO working all hours, recently widowed. I wondered if you had your priorities straight." David felt his stomach drop. "And now? Now I can see you do. A man who can build a strong family and a strong business is someone I can trust." The relief was so strong David almost felt dizzy. They'd done it. Patterson believed them. But then something unexpected happened. As the evening went on, David stopped thinking about the business deal. He found himself just enjoying the dinner. Rosa fit perfectly at their table, laughing at Patterson's stories, asking thoughtful questions about his family. When Lily spilled juice on her dress, Rosa cleaned it up without missing a beat in the conversation. This was what family dinners should feel like, David realized. Warm and comfortable and full of easy laughter. After dinner, while Rosa and Lily cleared the table, Patterson pulled David aside. "I have to ask you something," Patterson said quietly. David's chest tightened. Had Patterson figured it out? Of course. "Are you planning to marry her?" The question hit David like a truck. We haven't talked about that yet." "You should. Women like Rosa don't come along often. She's beautiful, obviously, but more than that, she's genuine. And Lily adores her." "Yes, she does. Take some advice from an old man who's been married 43 years. When you find someone who makes your family better just by being in it, you don't let her go." David nodded, not trusting himself to speak. Because the crazy thing was, Patterson was right. Rosa did make their family better. She'd been making it better for 2 years, and David had been too blind to see it. When Patterson left an hour later, he shook David's hand and said, "I'll have my lawyers draw up the contracts Monday morning. It's been a pleasure doing business with you, David, and give my regards to your lovely family." After the door closed, David leaned against it and closed his eyes. They'd done it. The biggest deal of his career was secured. "We did it," he said to Rosa, who was standing in the hallway looking as stunned as he felt. "We did it," she agreed. "Daddy, I like Mr. Patterson," Lily announced. "He said Rosa is pretty and nice and that you're Lukey." "Kai, he's right about that," David said, looking at Rosa. Rosa blushed and looked away. "I should probably get Lily ready for bed." I can do it, David said. You've done enough tonight. You were perfect. After Lily was tucked in and had said goodnight to Rosa with extra long hugs, David found Rosa in the kitchen washing dishes. Leave those, he said. I'll do them tomorrow. It's okay. I need something to do with my hands. David understood. The adrenaline from the evening was still running through his system too. Rosa, I don't know how to thank you. What you did tonight. You're paying me $5,000. That's thanks enough. But something in her voice sounded off. David moved closer. Are you okay? Rosa kept washing dishes, not looking at him. I'm fine. You don't sound fine. It's just, tonight was nice. Really nice. And I know it wasn't real, but for a few hours it felt like it could be. David's heart started beating faster. What do you mean? Rosa finally turned to look at him. Her eyes were bright with unshed tears. I mean, sitting at that table, being part of your conversation, watching Lily be so happy. It felt like home. Like the kind of life I've always wanted but never thought I could have. Rosa, I'm sorry. I know this was just business. I know I'm just the housekeeper who helped you get your deal. But tonight made me realize how much I care about you and Lily, and that scares me. David stepped closer. It scares me too. What? This us, whatever this is. David ran his hands through his hair. I hired you to clean my house and take care of Lily. But you've become so much more than that. You've become, what? Family. You've become family, Rosa. And tonight, sitting there with you and Lily and Patterson, I realized I don't want this to be pretend anymore. They stood there looking at each other, the kitchen quiet except for the sound of their breathing. David, I can't lose this job. I can't lose Lily. My visa status, my family back home depending on me. You won't lose anything. I promise. You can't promise that. What if we try this and it doesn't work? What if it ruins everything? David wanted to kiss her. The urge was so strong it almost overwhelmed him. But Rosa was right to be scared. There was too much at stake. What if it does work? He asked softly. Rosa looked at him for a long moment. Then she stepped back. I should go home tonight. To my apartment. I need to think. David wanted to ask her to stay, to keep talking, to figure this out together. But he could see she needed space, okay. But Rosa? Tonight wasn't just business for me either. After Rosa left, David sat in his living room, still wearing his suit, thinking about Patterson's words. When you find someone who makes your family better just by being in it, you don't let her go. The problem was, David was falling in love with Rosa, and he had no idea what to do about it. The weekend after the dinner felt different. Rosa came back Saturday morning like always, but there was something careful in the way she moved around the house. She and David were polite to each other, maybe too polite. When their hands accidentally touched while making breakfast, they both pulled away quickly. Lily noticed immediately. Why are you and Rosa acting weird? She asked David while Rosa was upstairs changing the sheets. We're not acting weird. Yes, you are. Yesterday you were holding hands and laughing. Today you won't even look at each other. David didn't know how to explain that yesterday was pretend, but the feelings it stirred up were very real. Sometimes adults need time to figure things out, sweetie. Figure what out? Grown-up stuff, Lily rolled her eyes. That's what you always say when you don't want to tell me something. She wasn't wrong. Monday morning brought the contracts from Patterson, just as promised. David's business partner Jake nearly fell out of his chair when he saw the numbers. This is huge, man. This changes everything for us, Jake said, flipping through the pages. How did you pull this off? I convinced Patterson I was the stable family man he wanted to work with. How? David hesitated. He hadn't told Jake about the fake girlfriend plan. Rosa helped me host a dinner. Patterson was impressed with our family dynamic. Rosa? Your housekeeper Rosa? She's more than just a housekeeper, Jake. Jake raised an eyebrow. Is she now? Something you want to tell me? It's complicated. It always is. But Dave, be careful. Rosa's been with you for 2 years. She's good for Lily. Don't mess that up chasing something that might not be there. But David knew it was there. The question was what to do about it. That afternoon, David's sister-in-law Karen stopped by unexpectedly. Karen was Anna's older sister, and she'd been checking on David and Lily regularly since Anna died. She meant well, but she had strong opinions about how David should raise Lily. I need to talk to you, Karen said, glancing around the house. Where's Lily? Upstairs doing homework. Rosa's helping her. That's what I want to talk about, this Rosa situation. David felt his stomach tighten. What about it? Lily's getting too attached. She talks about Rosa constantly. Rosa this, Rosa that. It's not healthy. Rosa is good for Lily. She's been nothing but helpful. I'm sure she has. But David, you need to think about boundaries. Rosa is an employee. Lily needs to understand that. Lily understands perfectly well. Does she? Because last week when I picked her up from school, she told her teacher that Rosa was making her costume for the school play. When the teacher asked if Rosa was her stepmother, Lily said she hoped so. David's heart stopped. She said what? She's getting confused about Rosa's role in her life. And frankly, so are you. What's that supposed to mean? Karen sighed. Dave, I loved Anna like my own sister. She'd want you to be happy. But she'd also want what's best for Lily, and getting involved with the help isn't what's best. The help? Karen, Rosa isn't just some employee. She's practically family. Practically isn't the same as actually. What happens when this doesn't work out? What happens when Rosa decides she wants more than you can give her? Or when you realize you're confusing gratitude with love? David was about to argue when he heard footsteps on the stairs. Rosa appeared with Lily, both of them laughing about something. Hi, Karen, Rosa said warmly. How are you? Karen's smile was polite but cold. I'm fine, thank you. Rosa, could you give David and me a few minutes alone? Of course. Lily, let's go finish your math homework in the kitchen. After they left, Karen continued. She's lovely, David, I'm not saying she isn't. But think about this logically. You're her employer. She depends on you for her income. Probably for her visa status, too. Can you really trust that any feelings she has are genuine and not just about security? That's not fair, isn't it? I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm trying to protect you and Lily from getting hurt. That evening, after Karen left, David couldn't stop thinking about her words. Was he confusing gratitude with love? Was Rosa only being kind because he paid her salary? He watched Rosa help Lily with her homework. The two of them bent over math problems at the kitchen table. They looked so natural together, so right, but Karen's words kept echoing in his head. When Rosa was getting ready to leave, David stopped her. Rosa, can we talk? Of course. They sat in the living room, the same couch where they'd practiced being a couple just days ago. It felt like a lifetime ago. My sister-in-law came by today. Yes, I saw her. She's concerned about boundaries, about Lily getting too attached to you. Rosa's face went very still. I see. She thinks Lily is confused about your role here. And what do you think? David looked at Rosa, really looked at her. Her dark eyes were guarded now, like she was preparing for bad news. I think Karen might have a point about the confusion, but not the way she means. What do you mean? I mean, I'm the one who's confused. About what I want. About what's real and what I'm just imagining. Rosa stood up suddenly. David, I think I should quit. What? No. Yes, this is getting too complicated. You have your business deal now. You don't need me to pretend anymore. I'm not asking you to pretend. Then what are you asking me to do? Because I can't keep living in this house, taking care of your daughter, being part of your family, if you're not sure what you want from me. David stood up too. Rosa, please. Let's just take this slow. Slow? David, I've been in love with you for months. There's nothing slow about this for me. The words hung between them like a bridge neither of them knew how to cross. You're in love with me? David's voice was barely a whisper. Yes, and it's killing me because I know you're not ready. You may never be ready, and I can't keep hoping for something that might never happen. Rosa? No, let me finish. I care about Lily like she's my own daughter. I care about you more than I should. But I have to protect myself. I have to think about my future, my family back home, my own life. What if I told you I think I'm falling in love with you too? Rosa's eyes filled with tears. I'd ask you to be sure. Really sure. Because if we do this and it doesn't work, I don't just lose a job. I lose the two people I care about most in the world. And if we don't try, we might lose each other anyway. Maybe. But at least then I'd still have my dignity. David wanted to reach for her, to pull her close and promise her everything would work out. But he couldn't make promises he wasn't sure he could keep. What do you need from me? He asked. Time and space. I need to go back to my apartment for a while and think about this without being here every day, watching you and Lily, wanting something I might not be able to have. For how long? I don't know. A week, 2 weeks? However long. It takes for both of us to figure out what we really want. David felt panic rising in his chest. What about Lily? She needs you. Lily needs stability, and right now I can't give her that. Rosa, please don't leave, but Rosa was already getting her coat. I'll come back next week to get my things. Tell Lily I had a family emergency. Tell her I'll call her. This is crazy. We can figure this out together. Rosa stopped at the door and looked back at him. David, do you love me? The question was simple, but the answer felt impossible. Did he love her? Or did he love the idea of her? Did he love how she made his life easier? How she loved his daughter, how she fit into the family he was trying to build? Or did he love her, Rosa, for who she was? I don't know, he said honestly. Rosa nodded like she'd expected that answer. Then I'm making the right choice. After she left, David sat alone in his living room, surrounded by the life Rosa had helped him build. Lily's artwork on the refrigerator. The throw pillows Rosa had picked out. The family photos that now included Rosa in most of them. How had he not seen it before? Rosa wasn't just part of their lives. She was the heart of their home, and now she was gone. The first week without Rosa was a disaster. David burned Lily's breakfast 3 times. He forgot about parent-teacher conferences. He showed up to work wearing 2 different shoes and didn't notice until Jake pointed it out during their afternoon meeting. But the worst part was watching Lily. At first, she believed the story about Rosa having a family emergency. She asked when Rosa was coming back every morning and every night. By the 4th day, she stopped asking and just looked sad. Is Rosa mad at us? Lily asked on Friday night while David attempted to make dinner. The smoke alarm was going off and he was trying to fan it with a dish towel. No, sweetie, Rosa's not mad. Then why won't she call me? She said she would call. David didn't have an answer for that. Rosa had called once on Tuesday, but she'd only talked to David. She said she needed more time and asked him not to put Lily on the phone because it would be too hard. Maybe she's really busy helping her family, David said, finally getting the smoke alarm to stop beeping. Or maybe she doesn't want to live with us anymore. The sadness in Lily's voice broke David's heart. Lily, that's not true. Then why did she leave? Did I do something wrong? No, baby. You didn't do anything wrong. Did you do something wrong? David looked at his daughter, who was too smart for her own good. Maybe I did. That weekend, David hired a babysitter and went to Rosa's apartment. He'd never been there before, and he was surprised by how small it was. Just 1 bedroom in an old building across town. Rosa answered the door in sweatpants and an old t-shirt, her hair in a messy bun. David, what are you doing here? We need to talk. I told you I needed time. It's been a week. Lily is miserable. I'm miserable. This isn't working. Rosa sighed and let him in. The apartment was clean but sparse. There wasn't much furniture, just the basics. On her small kitchen table, David saw a stack of job applications. You're looking for work? I can't come back and pretend nothing happened, David. We both said things we can't take back. I don't want to take them back. Rosa sat down heavily on her small couch. What do you want from me? I want you to come home, and that's not my home. It's your home. I just work there. That's not true, and you know it, do I? Because your sister-in-law made it pretty clear that I'm just the help who's getting above herself. David sat down next to her. Karen doesn't speak for me, but she's not wrong about the complications. I am your employee. I do depend on you for my visa status. How do you know my feelings are real? Because I know you. I've watched you with Lily for 2 years. I've seen how you are when you think no one's looking. You can't fake that kind of caring. Rosa was quiet for a long time. What about your feelings? How do you know they're real? Because this week without you has been hell. Not because the house is a mess or because I can't cook. Because you weren't there. Because when Lily laughed at something on TV, I wanted to share it with you. Because when I had a good day at work, you were the person I wanted to tell. That could just be habit. It's not habit. It's love. Rosa looked at him. Are you sure? I'm sure. I love you, Rosa. I love how you make Lily laugh. I love how you hum when you're cooking. I love how you always see the best in people. I love that you're strong enough to walk away when you think it's right, even when it breaks your heart. Tears started falling down Rosa's cheeks. David, I love you, and I think you love me too. And maybe that's scary because we both have a lot to lose. But isn't it scarier to not try? What about Karen? What about people who think this is wrong? I don't care what other people think. I care what Lily thinks. I care what you think. I care what I think. And I think we could be happy together. Rosa wiped her eyes. What if it doesn't work? What if it does? They sat in silence for a moment. Then Rosa said, I miss her so much. I miss Lily. She misses you too. She asked me if she did something wrong. Oh no, I never wanted her to think that. Come home, Rosa, please. We'll figure out the rest as we go. Rosa looked around her small apartment, then back at David. I'm scared. Me too, but I'm more scared of losing you than I am of trying. What about work? What about boundaries? We'll figure it out. Maybe you don't work for me anymore. Maybe you start that catering business you talked about. Maybe I help you get it started. You'd do that? I'd do anything to make this work. Rosa took a deep breath. Okay, I'll come home. But we take it slow. We figure out the business stuff first, and if this gets weird or complicated in a way that hurts Lily, we stop. Deal. David wanted to kiss her right then, but he could see she needed space to process everything. Instead, he took her hand. Can I tell Lily you're coming home? Can I tell her myself? I want to apologize for leaving without saying goodbye properly. She'd like that. When Rosa showed up at the house Sunday morning, Lily ran to her like she'd been gone for months instead of a week. Rosa, you're back. I missed you so much. I missed you too, little one. I'm sorry I had to leave so suddenly. Is your family okay? Rosa looked at David over Lily's head. Yes, my family is okay. All of my family. That afternoon, while Lily was playing in the backyard, David and Rosa sat at the kitchen table and talked about how to make this work. They decided Rosa would transition out of housekeeping and focus on starting her catering business. David would help with the startup costs and business plan. They would date properly like normal people while living in the same house. It's going to be complicated, Rosa said. Everything worth doing is complicated. What do we tell people? The truth. That we fell in love, and Patterson? What if he finds out we were pretending that night? David thought about it. You know what? I don't think we were pretending. Not really. We were just finally admitting what was already there. 3 months later, David proposed to Rosa in the same kitchen where they'd first practiced being a couple. Lily helped him plan the whole thing, hiding the ring in Rosa's favorite coffee mug. Will you marry us? David asked, getting down on one knee while Lily giggled from the doorway. Both of you? Both of us, Lily confirmed. I helped pick the ring. Rosa said yes through happy tears. A year later, at their small wedding in David's backyard, Patterson gave a toast. I've been in business for 40 years, he said, raising his glass, and I've learned that the best partnerships are built on honesty, trust, and love. David and Rosa, you three are proof that when you find your real family, you fight for it. David looked at his wife, who was laughing at something Lily whispered in her ear, and realized Patterson was right. Sometimes the best things in life start as pretend and become more real than anything you ever imagined. And sometimes when you're brave enough to fight for love, love fights back.